I'll try not to be much longer than the others. I'm not just talking about this weekend, because I'm going to talk about what's happened to me in the last 5 years of being on the Light College. Just over 5 years ago, I was in a really bad place. My husband had died and I didn't know quite which way to turn, but my church here were wonderful, loved me back into belief again, and I decided to become baptized as a sort of sign that I was rededicating myself to God for the rest of my life, even though I was now on my own and we're not sure quite what that meant. And after my baptism, I kept hearing, or people kept giving me the same words, which were, there's more to come. And also, you're never too old. And then wonderful Joy, whom many of you here will know, stood up in church and talked about the Light. In those days, it was the Light Project, but she told us about the Light College. And I just knew that this was for me. And even though I was by then 76, I thought, I've just got to do this. I'd never been to university. I'd had to leave school quite early. And I just knew that this was my chance, my sort of uni chance. So I rang Derry and said, am I too old? And she said, you're never too old to learn more about God. And so there I was caught and trapped, and in I came. And of course, over the course, apart from the spiritual side, I discovered how much I love writing and how much I love studying. And it got me a whole new hobby, really, interest in my life. I was particularly felt as if I'd been given a new family, and Glenn especially, but all of you just loved me through that first year and understood where I was, and it was just amazing. And then, of course, I'd never considered I was going to be an evangelist. I mean, you know, I was a sort of middle-class lady who'd been a Christian all her life. She didn't do cheeky things like going out on the streets being an evangelist. But of course, I discovered that all it really means is telling people that God loves them and telling them your story. I mean, it was just as easy as that. And in our own church here, we started a connect group, and we used to go out on the streets here doing all the Light College stuff, giving gifts away, praying for people. And the first few weeks that we did it, every single time that we were offering prayer, there seemed to be someone that had been bereaved and needed to talk about bereavement. And it was God just saying to me, you are in the right place, and this is what I want you to be doing. And then we had to go, as you all know, we have to have placements. And my first placement was at the dementia care home, which is just over the street from me where I live here. And it was an eye-opener, and I just discovered that that's where God wanted me to be. I just loved it there, and I never thought of myself as being an evangelist. It was just a case of bringing God's love to them and letting them know how much they were loved, even though wherever they were in their lives, it was okay. God was still there. And then I had to spend a year at the hospice, again on placement. And the same thing again, I just felt that God had told me that that's where I had to be, really. Then I went back to the dementia care home for the last 2 years for placement, and at church they asked, would I like to be consecrated as an Anna Chaplain? An Anna Chaplain, for those that you don't know, looks after the pastoral and spiritual care of the frail elderly and those with dementia. And so I did this in 2019, but of course most of the time I've been locked down and shut in this room and haven't been able to visit them very much. But I have been sending them little messages, little video films, and sending presents and cards and things, and trying to keep the message that they're not forgotten alive. And so here I am at the end of the 5 years, and just so thankful to God and to all the leadership team and to the other students, of course. None of you have ever minded that I'm so much older than the rest of you. We've always made me feel just one of the gang. And I think God is still saying to me, there's more to come. So watch this space.